Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another week and the final week of community groups. Super glad you could join us today. Once again, hope the food was good. Hope it was great, actually. So let's go ahead and get into the questions. So you're going to see a clip here in just a second. The question is going to be, since Pastor Jack was talking about the Olympics and that whole debacle and what's going on right now. Why do we often struggle, or do we struggle with sometimes standing up as Christians and voicing our opinions? Could it be work? Could it be fear of judgment? Could it be fear of your friends judging you? Why do we struggle, if we do, with standing up? Check out the clip.
And I don't normally get hung up and distracted by things that are happening in the world, social media, all those things. I try to pretty much just stay firm on what God's told me to preach in the first place, and we usually carry on in that. But there are some things that are happening right now that we need to take serious. And we need to understand that as much as the world's going to try to manipulate it and say that it's not, that it is what it is. And we need to look at sin and call sin sin. We need to rebuke things that are not called by the Lord. And if you've had a TV on at all in the past week or so, you will have seen so much that has happened in the opening of the Olympics, the opening ceremonies. And again, I'm not the preacher that's going to come up here and just be so relevant and so in touch with what's going on that I'm just going to preach every week against what. But no, this one really rubbed me the wrong way. It's blasphemous. It's satanic. This is not our nation that we know is really struggling right now. Has a lot to do with leadership and politics that are just crumbling our nation, or try to turn us into a certain nation that they have all the control and we rely on them. But it has come to this worldwide slap in the face. And if you're not careful, you can listen to all these excuses as to why there was drag queens all on a long table that reflected the Last Supper. People can say whatever they want. Greek mythology, it wasn't this. It's wrong. I don't care what they try to say. It is what it was, and it was mockery. And I'm not saying that we sit here and grab our toys and stomp our feet and how dare you. No. This is a prime example of what we are facing. It is a spiritual war out there for us, and they are here to take the minds of all of the weak. We talked about it this morning. If you are a Christian, awesome, praise God. But if you are a Christian that neglects the time that you have in worship, in your Bible study, and understanding the Word, and being heavily involved into prayer, if you are weak in that in a Christian, you are going to get swayed by some of this silly stuff that's happening in the world and say that that's okay. Oh, it's okay because of X, Y, and Z. No, it's wrong. It is unbiblical. We will not stand for that. I will not stand for that, and I will never preach for you to be okay with it. We should be unsettled with what's going on in the world today. And it's not something that we sit here and do what the other people do, when just sit here and stomp our feet and cry and scream when our president doesn't get elected and wah. It's not about that. This is a stance against the enemy, and this is a spiritual war. And where does that start? Right here. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. Go back and listen to it. Where does it start? Right here. And we're talking about last week about mobilizing ourselves spiritually, getting ready as if we are getting ready for a war. But there's this mobilization that the United States uses. I used this as a reference last week. That we are all constantly preparing for war. Even if in your life right now war isn't happening, constantly be preparing for that. How do we prepare for that? We get ready for worship. We get ready for what God has for us in every circumstance, whether it's a Sunday morning, whether it's a meeting with a family, whether it's just ministering to your community, serving your community. We're mobilizing ourselves spiritually, getting ready for God to move in us. Because where does it start, everyone? Right here. We could gripe about all these other false teachers and preachers that are just preaching the wrong way, or all these people that aren't doing what they're doing, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Stop worrying about them. It's about you. Do you think the Apostle Paul, through everything that he went through, was sitting here on a day-to-day basis saying, well, maybe I should just stop what I'm doing, spreading the gospel in the most powerful way that it's ever been spread, because these people over here, they're not doing it. And all the disciples, where are they at? Because half of them disappear when we get into the book of Acts. What are they doing? They literally follow Jesus.
Question number 2, you're going to see the video clip. This question is going to be at the end of it. Do we often feel like we have to defend our faith? Check out the clip, answer the question. I'll be back.
Just got beaten for following God, just got beaten for worshiping God and proclaiming Jesus and his magnificent glory to people and healing a woman and bringing her to the Lord. 2 people, actually, because the one before this, they had just brought another woman to the Lord, the lady that sold purple. So they were on a roll, but nothing could get them down. They were beaten, thrown into this prison, locked up with shackles on their hands and this crazy contraption on their legs. They were doomed to die. Nobody knew, and to them, they didn't know that anything would ever happen, that they were stuck in a place to where this would be the last place I ever get to live in the body. But what did they do?
Number 3, rolling right along. Do you ever feel like you've been stuck, like spiritually? Just kind of, you've hit a brick wall and you're stuck. Answer the question. And you're going to watch the clip, then answer the question. I've done this like 8 weeks and I'm still figuring this out. Sorry, guys. But check out the clip.
Prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly, there was a great earthquake, so that the foundation of the prison were shaken, and immediately all the doors were opened and everyone's chains were loosed. They're in probably one of the worst parts of the prison, doomed to die. And they thought to pray and worship and sing. You want to talk about a posture.
Question 4, has anyone's worship ever inspired you? And that can be, inspiration can go a multitude of different ways, but watching someone else worship can hit heavily on the heart. So have you ever been influenced or impacted by someone's worship? Feel free to explain. Here's the clip.
You want to talk about a posture, a heart. You want to talk about somebody, it was never about anything other than Jesus. It was never, everything that they did, the miles that they walked, the towns that they went to, and they could have sat there and said, I should have just went on the same trail. I don't know why God brought me this way. Now I'm stuck in here. What am I going to do for the Lord here? No. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Paul, his famous words was, to die is to gain. To live is for Christ. He meant it. He lived it. And it didn't matter where he was at, whether it was in a church or a prison cell. His heart was postured to God for worship, to glorify. It didn't matter if he was literally with his last 2 or 3 breaths. It was to worship and to give God the glory through all of it. No matter where he was at, no matter what the walls looked like, no matter what person was in the room, no matter what he was wearing or facing, no matter if they were for him or against him, no matter if everybody had turned their backs on him, he knew that no matter what, he had the Lord, and the Lord was going to deliver him no matter what, because if he died in that cell that day, he would meet Jesus face to face.
Question number 5. This is it. You're going to make me tear up. This is the last question of community groups. So, last question is, do you feel as if community groups have been beneficial to you? I mean, we've been doing this for, I think this is our 8th week now. We've had lots of testimonies. We've had lots of good times, lots of great fellowship, even better food. So, from us to you, how do you feel like community groups went? And is this something that you could see going forward in the future? Let us know. We're thankful that y'all came. There's no video clip for that, so this is going to work right into the conclusion. But we're super glad you came. We're super glad. Hopefully you've stuck around with us for the entirety of the 8 weeks. If so, thank you so much. If you happen to join in a little late, nothing wrong with that. We're still glad you're here. So we'd love to hear your testimonies. We'd love to hear your feedback. And yeah, y'all have a good rest of the summer and a great rest of the night. God bless. For once, I don't have any bloopers on this. This is it. Y'all have a good one. Also, don't forget, August 8th, 6 p.m. Put it in your calendars right now. That's on a Thursday. August 8th, 6 p.m. We're going to meet back up. We're going to talk about community groups. We'd love to hear some feedback. We'd love to see you there. I think that's it here. So, y'all have a good one.